Before we jump into today's episode, if you're digging Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, please know that in 2026, our 10th anniversary year, your support truly matters. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp. Memberships start at just $1 a month and help us bring you even more KPP. You can also support the show with new Ka-Pow merch on our TeePublic store. Please know we appreciate every bit of support, and on with the episode.
You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey everybody, Ka-Pow, the pop culture is back once again. What an exciting time to be with you. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth.
We're back.
What's up? Yeah,
it's summer.
Excited.
It is summer now.
It is summer.
Just like the last few days.
That's very true. We are official.
Can I gripe
the
about
90s.
something? Is it okay to gripe about something?
Sure.
It's kind of pop culture related, but
Oh, okay.
so I went to the bank. Actually, I opened a CD, a certificate of deposit, like an adult would.
Wow.
This was
Because I had a little bit in my savings account for the first time ever, and it gains nothing. I get like 3 cents every time they give me interest, so it was literally nothing. So it pops up on my banking screen, hey, do you want a CD? Here's the minimum, just click this button, we'll set it up. I was like, that seems pretty easy. So I clicked the button,
hit the easy button.
Yeah, fill out a couple little forms. They had all my banking info, transferred from a savings to a CD. I just put in the minimum amount just to try it, make sure everything went right.
All in red.
5-month terms, 3.75% interest. Okay, let's be an adult. Click. So the months go by. The interest accrues. I'm like, hey, that's like a tangible amount of money. This isn't a bad deal.
Okay.
So the 5 months is almost up, and I get notice. Hey, if you don't do anything, it'll just automatically renew for another 5 months at the percentage 0.02. And I had to reread it. I'm like, from 3.75 to 0.02. That is less than I was getting in my savings account. That's awful. That's literally nothing. That's rounded down to nothing. But you can't renew it online. You can't renew it as easily as you signed up for it. You have to go visit a banker. It's like, oh, come on. So I take my paperwork and I go into the bank to cancel it when my 5 months is up. The CD has matured, the interest transferred. I'm going to take it out and just put it back in my savings because I'm not doing 0.02%.
I'll take my money now.
I go up to the window. I'm like, can I do this here? Or do I need to make an appointment with a banker? It's like, no, I can take care of you here. So he types it in. It'll do, okay, here's your thing. We can give you 3.25%. I'm like, oh, they told me, that it said it was going to do point. Oh, well, that's just if you didn't do anything. Since you came in and talked to us today, we can offer you this percentage.
I'd be like, I'm going to burn this place to the ground. You think this is customer service? F off.
So yeah, I stood at the window for 10 minutes.
What bank is this?
It's my local bank.
Which one is it?
I want to do all my money in it.
I want to do this just so I can have a fit.
So I had transferred more money into my savings because when the thing matured, I was going to put even more money because I was enjoying getting this interest. So I'm like, I'm not doing that now. So I go to the bank. They gave me the higher percent. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll transfer more. So it got taken care of. It's fine. But it just struck me as that seems to be everyone's business model now is subscribe to something, give us your credit card, and then forget we exist. Like they want you.
Yep.
They just want you to have a recurring payment, a subscription, something, but they don't want to do anything. And there's so many, every streaming service, the radio streaming apps, everything they want, they'll fight like crazy to get you to sign up, and then it's like we didn't even exist. Just pretend that,
I'm
they
a
hope
ghost.
you won't notice. It's like, what a horrible business model to hope your customers don't realize. Because that's the, if you didn't do anything, if I hadn't physically got up and gone to the bank, they would have just stopped giving me interest. It's like, that is not fair. That's terrible business. But that's how the way everything runs now. It is crazy to me.
Like that would make me, I'd be like, okay, out of spite, now I'm taking all my money out and changing banks.
Yeah. It does seem a little predatory. Isn't the right appropriate word, but yeah,
good customer
it's a little
service.
Yeah, it's a little. Hey, we've got you.
It's trying to screw you over, like, on purpose. Crazy.
But they advertise apps. Check out all your, see what subscriptions you're not using and get them canceled. It's like, is that big of a problem? People don't know where their money's going.
Oh yeah.
They probably haven't logged into their Hulu or whatever in 6 months, forgot they even have it. It's like, are you getting like audio books? What are you buying that you don't even know you're spending your money on? That's a crazy, as tight as money is right now, to try to have people sneak it away from your account in the dead of night. Like, that's so awful.
Your friendly local Mr. Potter. Is it Potterville Bank? I have money in there too.
Wow.
There we go.
Wow.
Timely reference.
I just wanted to brag that I.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I knew that's
great.
what it was.
Yeah,
I knew it.
What a flex!
Jeez, look at you with a savings account.
Jeez, who'd have thunk it?
What's up? It's summertime.
Summertime. Where you been spending your money, Jordan? Where have you went lately?
The bank.
Besides the bank.
That's why I had to keep going to the bank to withdraw all this money so I could.
Yeah. How was that pop culture related?
Subscription services.
Subscription services. It's going to be this is pop culture related. I mentioned beginning. It's going to be in the 90s next week. We love the 90s.
You guys are both rocking the sleeveless look tonight.
I thought I had this shirt on. I forgot we were podcasting that. I had this shirt on. It's at least got it on the shoulders. And I was like, oh, should I wear that on the podcast? Well, there's not visual. And then I was like, I get here and Cliff's got less sleeves than I do.
That's true.
Like, it's like I came in a one piece to the beach and I'm like a little shy about it.
Yeah.
And he came in a bikini.
Yeah. Got the He-Man straps going on here. Yeah.
Hold on.
Brought a knife to a gun show.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well, I went to a
Speaking
show.
of shows.
Oh, look at you guys. Big show guys over here. Showing off.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jordan. You went to the show.
Yeah, I went
first.
early June. It was Three Rivers Comic Con in Pittsburgh, which I had gone to before, but it was years ago. One of their first shows. Michael and I set up a Soap Rope Comics. It was in a mall, and it took place in a closed retail store, like a closed Sears in a mall that they just put tables up and had a Comic Con in there. And it was weird, but I liked it was a good vibe, a good indie friendly show that also had some, name artists there. So it was cool. I'd always wanted to go back, but just never have. So now it is in the big convention center right in downtown Pittsburgh. It's huge. So it has definitely grown since the last time I was there. I had a couple cool people I wanted to meet. So I thought, it's only a little over 2 hours to get up there. Let's give it a shot. So I stress about these shows. If you've ever been around me, I prepare, I plan, write everything out. I check the maps. I'm ready to go. But this one, I was so casual about it because there wasn't some big celebrity I had to be first in line to meet. it was a fairly cheap show, fairly small show. I was going on Sunday, no big deal, no rush. So it starts at 10 a.m. I'm like, Sundays are always slow to start. I don't need to be there right as the ropes drop. I don't need to be there right at 10 a.m. So the day before, I'm looking at Reddit, and I just looked to see if anybody had posted about it. I like to, see what people are saying about the show. And there was a thread, people complaining, why do they always have this on a busy weekend in Pittsburgh? And, one year there's a Pirates game and a concert and a this. And another year there was a big festival and a this. And they said, and this year there's like an arts festival and Pride. I said, Pride? Doesn't that usually mean a parade? Uh-oh. So I'm like, well, I'm going on Sunday. Obviously a parade would be on Saturday, right? So I Google Pittsburgh Pride. Sunday morning parade. Here's what it is. So I'm like, oh, well, Pittsburgh's a big place. What are the odds the parade would be anywhere near? So I click on the map. Line up for the parade was the street the convention center is on. 10 a.m. line up for the parade, same time the show started. So I'm like, oh wow, I'm driving to a city I'm completely unfamiliar with. There are going to be street closures. There's going to be floats. There's going to be cones. It's going to be crazy. So I had a mild panic attack the night before and left an hour earlier than I needed to make sure I got up there before the roads closed, because the lineup was on the street to the front of the building, and then the parade started and it went to the street on the side of the building. So it made an L shape, completely blocked, and the river is on the third side of the building. So there's literally nowhere to go to avoid this parade. But I got there early enough, no problems at all. So it was a little iffy getting started, but it was actually easy to get there. And I gotta say, I loved the show. It was $17 ticket, so it's very cheap to get in. It was easy to get to. Once you get to Pittsburgh, you come out of the tunnel, and there's like 5 immediate exit-only lanes where you got to know exactly where you're going. So that's the only issue with Pittsburgh. But you fall right off the interstate, right into the parking garage. The parking garage opens in right into the wing of the building. The entrance is right there. It's super big, wide aisles, high ceilings, like a good crowd of people, but I was never crowded. No one was ever in my way. There was no table I couldn't get to. There were no long lines. It was just the perfect size for me. It was like big enough to be worth the trip, but small enough to feel intimate, and like you could talk to the folks, and people brought deals. It wasn't all just, high ticket, high price stuff. Like it was cheap enough to have the deal. So I'm going to put this one on my calendar and remember it next summer too, because I really, really enjoyed it. And everyone was super nice. Everyone was super accommodating. And most of the artists didn't even charge for their signatures, which I'm so not used to anymore. I think I counted 10 out of 15 did not charge anything for a signature.
Huh.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I got there very early. I just sat in the parking garage for a while. So I went in. It was like 11:45 before they let us in. But the hallway out front, they had the New Dimensions was the shop from that area. They have a couple stores in the Pittsburgh region. They're the sponsor to this, so they had their booth out front, so you could browse there while you're waiting. And there was a short box that said "Con Guests." So I'm like, well, I brought all the comics I want, so I don't need anything. But I'm flipping through it, and I see Quantum Leap comics, which the guy George Broderick had written back in the day when the show was still on. But I hadn't brought anything for him. I didn't have anything for him. So I'm like, it's like, heck, I'll get I'll get a Quantum Leap comic signed. I'm down for that. So when I met him, I handed it to him, and he's like, this is the second one of these I've signed this weekend. He was like shocked. And like the guy behind the table was like, you wrote Quantum Leap? He's like, yeah. Like they were talking about Quantum Leap. I was like, I didn't want to break his heart. I'm like, yeah, they're selling them out front. Like,
yeah. Didn't you see the box out front?
So I just had to stand and wait for a few minutes to get in. Immediately, the first person I see walk through was Adam from Adam's Action Figures, which I've seen the last 4 shows we've gone to. I saw him before the show even opened. He was walking through the lobby, so we talked for a minute. So 10 o'clock comes around, doors open. There's maybe 20 people waiting to get inside. And, like, everyone's at their table already. Everything's already in full swing. Everyone's waiting there. And I'm like, I didn't know where to start. Because I'm like, I usually have to walk around and find a spot and, okay, get in line for this guy. Like, I need a minute to prepare, take everything out of their bags and boards, figure out what you're going to, how much it costs, what you're going to say. But, like, everyone was just sitting there waiting, and it's like, I don't know where to start. So, I think the main reason I went was Howard Mackey was a writer, most prolific in the 90s, did a lot of Ghost Rider, a lot of Spider-Man, and he had written that famous John Romita Sr. cover of Spider-Man in the Rain. Like, I put it in my top 10 covers of all time. And so I'd already gotten Romita and inker Scott Hanna to sign it, so having the writer, I was like, that'll complete that, one of my favorite covers ever. So yeah, so I went up to his table, and he's like, what do you got for me? And I was like, my favorite cover of all time. He's like, oh, I see that one a lot. He's like, I always tease Romita about that. Why you gotta soak Spidey? Like, he was like laughing. Like, he doesn't have the same regard for the cover as I do, I guess. So I had said, he wrote a big chunk of the Clone Saga. So I said, I just read the Clone Saga for the first time. And he interrupted me. He was like, I'm sorry. Like, he apologized for that immediately. So I said, there's still good stuff. And I said, people, still love Ben Reilly. He's like, I hear that a lot. How much Ben Reilly is still a popular character after all these years. And his wife chirps up, and she's like, even I know that one. So she was hanging out. He's like, yeah, she's never read any of my books. He's like, that's how we stay happy. He's like, we don't get in each other's business, basically. So they were a very sweet couple, very nice guy. Got a couple things. My Spider-Man poster signed. I got several signatures on my Spider-Man poster, so that was
cool.
A real win. So a couple of the other folks that were there. Again, it's a small show, not huge celebrities, but I think I got more autographs at this one than I have the last couple, like, Galaxy Cons we've gone through. So one was Glenn Whitmore, who's not a household name. I didn't even recognize it until I looked it up. He was a colorist in the 90s and colored basically every Superman issue. That whole Death of Superman era was the colorist for all that stuff. So I'm like, I have multiples of these signed by folks, including the Dan Jurgens, Brett Breeding, number 75, The Death of Superman. So I'm like, I'll get a couple of those signed. And so he was charging $5 a signature, but 10 for keys. And he's like, well, that one's like, he apologized. I was like, yeah, I know 75 is a key. I get, everyone in the world owns it, but I guess we could still call it a key. So he had to charge a little extra for that, but that's fine. That's all right. I met Mark Morales, who again wasn't right on the tip of my tongue. I was like, I know that name, but he was an anchor for basically the whole Bendis era, like all those events, all that Marvel stuff, Avengers, Civil War, right after Civil War. What do we call Siege and Secret Invasion, all that stuff. Like he inked so much of those classic books, and he's worked with Steve McNiven, John Romita Jr., Jim Chung, like some of the best artists of that era. And so I had a couple of things for him to sign, and I said, you work with these great pencilers. Like, I was like, did they recommend you for the job, or do you get asked by the editor? Do you get assigned to them, or do they bring you, with them? Do they, And we talked a little bit about that, and he was saying basically, he's like, you can get a job anyhow. He said he once got a job. He went to the office to scan and photocopy some art, and while he was standing at the machine, there was an editor. He's like, that stuff's really good. You want a job? Like, he got a job literally at the copy machine. So he's like, yeah, it can happen anyway. So he signed everything, and he sees I had two things that Jim Chung had signed, and he signed two Jordan. He personalized them at that show, GalaxyCon, and it was free. He's like, do you want them personalized? I was like, oh, it doesn't matter, whatever you want. He's like, well, it'd be free if they're personalized. Like, well, sure then, let's personalize them. So he personalized everything, no charge. And he had like the best signature. He had a really nice.
Who are you talking about? Jim Chung?
Mark Morales.
Mark Morales. Oh, yeah.
So he had a great signature, perfect pen. Like, this guy had planned ahead. He knew what he was doing. So some of the other folks, Pat Olaf.
Oh, yeah, that's the Untold guy. Yeah,
Untold Tales of Spider-Man and a lot of other stuff. He was charging $1 per signature. So I handed them in $3. That felt weird. Like, here are three $1 bills. Like, this just doesn't. This is weird. I should just give you a $5 and call it a day. But super nice. Ron Friends, I'd met him before, but again, pre-poster, so I wanted him on the Spider-Man poster. Super sweet guy. He said, he complimented, he's like, this is a really good idea. Like, he was looking at the posters.
He was lippy with me.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, because I wanted him to sign my favorite comic ever, Thor 390.
Oh, right.
And he was all irritated about it. This is what you bring. I was like, jeez.
Another guy was Howard Bender. Had done a lot of kind of 70s, 80s era. He was doing caricatures as well. So he had like chairs set up out front of his booth. And he's like, sit down. Let's have a chat. Like, he didn't want to just sign and move on. Like, he asked me where I was from and what I was into and why I was here and what I was doing. And I had this cover. I just looked for covers that he had done. And there was a Superman book. And I was like, the Superman movie is casting. This goofy book from the 70s. Aliens were making a movie about Superman, but aliens couldn't tell humans apart, so they were going to cast anybody. So the whole cover is people with, bath sheets tied around their necks and like goofy looking people who all think they look like Superman. And I was like, that's a cute cover. And I said, yeah, I thought this was relevant because they recast Superman every couple of years. Well, that's true, they do, don't they? So again, just another nice conversation. And then Wayne Foucher, inker, he was super worried about how much I was carrying because I had the bag on my shoulder, a book in one hand.
I worry about that every time.
And the posters in my other hand. And he was
I don't like the
okay?
messenger bag anyway. And since Wayne brought it up, I don't like that you don't carry it over your head. It's hanging off that shoulder. It's going to fall off at any moment.
Never has.
Drives me crazy. Like if I had a messenger bag hanging on my shoulder, 1 inch onto my shoulder, that would be so uncomfortable all day. It would drive me freaking crazy. And I don't do it, but just having you there drives me crazy. So I'm just glad it's out there.
Good. Well, he was like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Do you want to
That's
set
what I
something
want
down?"
to say. Are you okay?
I was like,
Thanks,
"No,
Wayne.
I'm good." He's like, "You can set something down if you need to." I was like, "This ain't my first rodeo. I was having no issue because I have fumbled with stuff before.
Sure, you
like,
want to slip that over your head so it's securely on you. You're not going to take it off anyway. Just open the bag up, and it's not going to fall off your shoulder. You don't need to take it. Sorry, I'm just assuming this is what Wayne wanted to say.
It was all running through his head. So yeah, I got several things on the posters. Like 20-some books signed. Ali Garza, Don Simpson, Joe Pruitt, Keith Williams, Steve Geiger, Tom Scioli, Trish Forstner. So just some cool stuff. And I didn't have... there's a younger guy there, Ethan Young, which he's done some indie comics, and he's done a bunch of DC variant covers recently, but I didn't have anything from him. But looking him up, I'd seen something. He had a pretty cool book. It was like his first book was a web comic. It's kind of autobiographical about a cartoonist, but like the characters come alive and talk to him, so it's kind of magical realism. So like that was kind of cool. So he had a copy of the complete collection of that, so I got that from him. Looking forward to reading that. He was a cool young up and comer. And then I ran into Dirk Manning, who has been a writer for a long time, indie guy, and he used to write a column on Newsarama called Right or Wrong. WRITE. So it was like writing advice for breaking into comics as basically real time as he was figuring stuff out. He was very honest about stuff and open and like gave actual good advice in those early days of the internet. So I saw he had a collected edition of that where they collected a bunch of the columns and updated them for modern time. And so I went up and I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to read this religiously." So I was kind of kissing up a little bit. I was like, yeah, most writing advice sucks, but this was actually, good nuts and bolts. He was like, "Oh, thanks, man." He was so excited, very gracious. And he asked if I was still writing or still interested in writing. I was like, yeah, I've been all these years plugging along. He's like, "Do you have anything with you?" So in my messenger bag, right, easy access on my shoulder.
Right off the shoulder.
No, you take it off. You half the time you always like pull it off, and you're like,
No,
put it over your head.
He had no problem. So
I guarantee Rex was irritated about it.
So I had a copy of Cryptolivia with me, the latest So-Pro Comics release that I wrote.
Oh, did you get that?
Handed it to him, and he flipped through and was like, "This looks so good. I love this. This is awesome." He asked me to pitch it to him, like, "What's it about?" So I give him the pitch. He's like, "This is great." He's like, "When you have a full..." So he is apparently now in charge of Source Point Press, which is kind of they're a smaller publisher, but they're in comic shops and stuff. They got distribution. So he said, "No, when you have enough for a graphic novel, be sure and send this to me." He's like, gave me his card and there. So I got puffed up a little bit of like, that's what you're supposed to go to cons and network with folks and schmooze and do all that. So it was good. I got some good feedback. I don't know, how long it'll take me to get enough for a graphic novel. I might be 75 years old by that point. But it was nice to hear. It was nice to get a compliment.
Hey, you can get a job anywhere. Standing at the water cooler, in line at the con. Exactly.
So they were doing a panel at 1 p.m. on indie publishing, and I was like, "Well, I'll be at the panel." He's like, "Well, at least we'll have one there." So that was nice. So we had a little moment. That was nice. So I went to the panel at 1, the Source Point Press, and it was talking about crowdfunding, going to cons, how to maximize social media. But the panel room was so small. There were 2 rows of chairs. Maybe like 12 chairs per row. So it was just a super small room. So like I walked in right before 1. I was like, oh, I guess I'm sitting right up front. There's literally nowhere else to sit. We're all smushed in together. But it was an interesting panel. I enjoyed it. So my plan was right after that panel, I was pretty much done by like 11:30 because everything went, there's no lines to wait in or anything. Plenty of time to walk around. So I thought, well, right at, the panel will go till 2. I can get out here right at 2, get home plenty of time. That'll be perfect. But as I was walking to the panel, I see
your bag slipped off your shoulder.
I tripped over it. And Dirk Manning just shakes his head like, "You're not Source Point material." So again, this was Sunday. A lot of the tables had bargains. Some of them had like, today only half price, like, Sunday sales and that kind of stuff. So there was a $1 box that had marked everything half price. Everything was 50 cents. And I kind of flipped through it, and I saw there's a series from the 80s, a Mephisto miniseries. So each issue was like Mephisto versus the Fantastic Four, or Mephisto versus X-Men. So it was 4 issues. And I had seen issues 3 and 4 at a table earlier in the day for like $1. I'm like, well, I'm not buying 3 and 4 if I don't have 1 and 2. So I passed them by. So in this 50-cent bin, I find 1 and 2.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, sweet. I can get the whole series. So I was on my way to the panel. I went to the panel. I'm like, I leave the panel at 2. I'm like, where was that table? So I spent nearly an hour retracing my steps trying to find this cheap Mephisto. Spoiler alert, I never did. So I got issues 1 and 2, but I never did find 3 and 4, even spending another 45 minutes looking for them. But I knocked off so much stuff off my list. I cut half a dozen things, completed runs or single issues I was missing. I completed both my Green Arrow runs, the Mike Grell run, and the Judd Winnick run, which I've had on my list forever, just picking up 1s and 2s at every show. So I completed both those. Got the last issue I needed of Larry Hama's Wolverine run. So these were long-time projects. I knocked every single one of them out. It was awesome. Wow. And I stayed under budget. I only spent like half of what I budgeted to spend on it. So I got out of there with money still in my pocket. CD. My bag was bulging. My bag was so heavy.
Oh.
Full of back issues.
Probably have a groove on that one shoulder.
So I got out of there. It was a little bit closer to 3, so I was a little bit later than I thought. But so I'm like, well, I'll get a little ways down the road and stop for supper. And then I see an exit that has like 1 million restaurants. So I guess this is a good spot. I'll find something to eat here.
Maybe
here we go.
A magic gas station.
I could only hope. So I pull in, and there's what's the wing place we went to? The
Quaker Steak and Loop?
No, the Canes. There was a Canes. I'm like, I could do that. And I'm pulling to them, and I see a Primanti Brothers. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, that's like the Pittsburgh restaurants. Like, if I drove all the way to Pittsburgh, I should probably get the iconic Pittsburgh restaurants.
At least once.
I actually switched and went into there, and I couldn't remember what they were famous for until I got there and I saw the menu, and it's the sandwiches with French fries and coleslaw like slathered on top. I was like, oh right, I probably won't like this.
That sounds like a very
I got mine without
thing.
coleslaw, so I did like the fries when I've had it, but I don't do coleslaw.
So I was like, well, I should just get chicken or burgers. I was like, no, I'm here. Let's just do it. Get the Pittsburgh sandwich. So I got the whole full experience, and it was fine.
It was fine.
All right, back to the car. Time to go home. Right next door to the Primanti Brothers was the milkshake factory. I'm like, oh man, these last couple trips, I've gotten a milkshake for the way home. Might as well do it. So I see the milkshake factory. I'm imagining like Pop's chocolate shop. I'm imagining like 1950s malt shop, whatever. I walk in, it is like the fanciest place I've ever been. It is all like ultra modern, like boutique ice creams, like these little cake pops under glass. Like everything is white and silver and spotless. I was like, what is going on here? So it was a $10 for a milkshake, but it was worth every penny. It was delicious. So I enjoyed.
Wow! Now you get these rich tastes.
I have a friend that owns a milkshake factory, over in Cincinnati, over by Kings Island. Yeah, I've never been to one, but I see her posts all the time. Her and her husband own it, and I'm like, what is this milkshake factory?
Nick went on a business trip or whatever last week, and wherever he was at, he said on the street there was 3 speakeasies. Yeah, he's like every other bar was a speakeasy, and I was just like, what? He's like, yeah, it's like must be a major fad now that be a speakeasy. I was like, I wonder where they got that idea.
Drinking absinthe in the
Yeah.
Was there a password at?
I
don't think so.
It's open to teenagers from high school, so
yeah,
can't be that exclusive.
And biker gangs.
You have to have a pig's heart.
So yeah, I'm gonna look into actually tabling at this show maybe next year if we give maybe a So Pro table up there, because again there was a good crowd. I saw lots of people talking to the indie artists. Real nice setup. They weren't squeezed into a corner in the dark room somewhere. So I'm all in on this show. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed my trip. So 5 stars for 3 rooms.
Trail.
Vintage.
Cliff, you went somewhere?
Yeah, so Father's Day weekend, that Saturday before Father's Day. I've never been to a Toy Hio show. Heard a lot about them. And I was kind of playing with the idea. I knew they were having one on Saturday. It's about 2.5. What's
Father's
that?
Day. That's good marketing on Father's Day.
It is, yeah.
That's good.
About 2.5 or so hours away. This is in Girard, Ohio. It's right above Youngstown. So it's a little bit, like Pittsburgh. It's a little trip. I was kind of like, do I want to go that far? The day after is Father's Day. What do we got going on this weekend? Nobody's, I haven't said anything or made any plans to go. So anyways, I'm kind of back and forth on it, and I'm kind of joking, kind of feeling out, what Alicia has planned or thinks if I go to this show. And she's like, yeah, just go, whatever. I don't care, that type of thing. I was like, I don't know. So I'm back and forth on it. So Saturday night, 11:30ish, pretty close to midnight, I'm going to bed and I'm like, still not undecided. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just I'm going to set my alarm. If I feel like getting up, maybe I'll just go. So that's what I did. I did a solo trip, just like Jordan. Hadn't been really, I don't recall ever being to Youngstown before or that area. So it was all new to me. Plugged in the coordinates in the old Apple Maps and headed out. It was kind of funny on the drive up because like I'm getting, it's kind of like we're going to Kent State where Carly goes to school and head up that way, hit 77 to 76, and then it has me going on I-80 and the voice, from my GPS says, take 80 east towards New York City. And I was like, what? Oh,
New
shit.
York City.
That was the reaction I had. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen a road, highway sign that said New York City before. So I took a picture of it, sent it to my wife. I was like, well, I don't see this every day. So it wasn't very far off of I-80. And it's super easy to find. It's at the location. It was at a place called the Metroplex. And it's kind of like a convention center type building. Basically, it's 3 big rooms. The show is in the Metroplex. I got there about, I don't know, maybe 10 after 10. Regular admission started at 10, early bird at 8, I think. And then they had some, set up the night before. People were selling stuff as they do at the toy shows now. But anyways, yeah, I went with no real expectation. Didn't know how big the show was. Oh, I knew it was Toy Hio 25. And I thought, well, why not start at the 25th one? So apparently this is a show they have 3 times a year now. It was $10 to get in. Used to be $5. They did raise the cost this time. So, but $10 to get in isn't bad at all for a show. And I have a list that I've been working off of for a couple years now. There's not a lot on my list at this point. I mean, really, mostly still have a few superpowers I'm looking for, out of the vintage line, the 84 line, and just some odds and ends after that. So didn't know what to expect. Really, really good venue. It's carpeted, which was wonderful for walking around. It was not hard on my feet or my back, or no soreness the next day, that type of thing, which was really nice. The alternative to it, I would say, is the lighting isn't very good. It has like fancy chandeliers throughout the place, in most of the rooms, and it's kind of dark, kind of hard to see things at times for an old, especially if you have bad eyes like me and you're old. But lots of vendors, a lot of vendor tables that I had not run into before, just because it was a little bit, more northeastern than I frequent. And so some New York vendors, some PA vendors, people from different places than just, Central Ohio or, Eastern Ohio. So that was really good. It was nice, fresh stuff. I was telling Jordan a little earlier, now this show is not a lot of like dig bin type stuff. Most of the booths brought high quality stuff, graded things, on card or in box, or, just grail type of items a lot. So anyways, yes, I saw a lot of YouTuber guys as we do, all the silly names, the Froggy Flips and the Poor Boy Steves, and VHS Crypt Chris was there, and Toy Connection, and the American Zennial, and I can go on and on and on with these guys. But pretty much everybody, it feels like that has a booth now has a YouTube channel they're doing. So, but some like I said, familiar faces also to go along with the new ones. Tons of booths, lots of people, but spread out enough that, again, like Jordan said, we weren't tripping over each other. It wasn't hard to shop, to see things, to look at stuff, which it was really nice. I enjoyed the show. So, I picked up, like I said, I was kind of looking for superpowers. There weren't a lot to be found. Most of them that I did see were things I had, or they were some of the new McFarlane stuff that I've passed over time and time again. So I was there for a little while and was starting to be like, I don't know if I'm going to buy anything type of situation. And at that point, I think I was over. Happy Pappy Clifton was there. He was back in a corner, and he was a smart guy. He brought his own lights for his booth, so you could shop it easily. So I was over there talking to him and going through his booth and just chatting away. And the guy next to him, Clifton was watching his booth. I think he'd stepped outside to smoke or something. I don't know where he went. But anyways, I kind of spotted. They had a Secret War, Marvel 1984 Secret Wars line. There was a Spider-Man, and it had a shield. And that line, I bought the Captain America and the Turbo Cycle a few months back when we were in Xenia. And like, I had a lot of these as a kid, and I played with them a lot. And, there's a little bit of nostalgia for it. So not a big line. There's like 14 figures, and several of them are super high priced, out of my range, if I were to start the line, basically. But anyways, saw the Spider-Man. The paint on it looked real. It was in good shape. It wasn't, the shield. It actually had a Steve Rogers insert in the shield itself. So it wasn't complete, but he had a shield. And I needed the Steve Rogers insert for the Captain America. So it was like $30, and I was like, you know what? I haven't bought anything. So I ended up picking that up, which was cool. And then a little while longer, hadn't bought anything else, ran into a booth that had, mostly the prices were really good. They weren't outrageous, I wouldn't say by toy show standards. So anyways, I ran across a booth, and it did have a couple bins, and I pulled out a John Stewart Superpowers figure from the new McFarlane line. It was like a Wave 1 figure. Cooper has this figure. I've seen it. I've touched it. I just never picked it up. And so he had $5 on it, and I was like, you know what? It's $5. So I held on to that, and I was searching through that same bin, and I pull out a Secret Wars Dr. Doom. Now, again, it's all with this line. It's all about for me, it's all about the paint, because the paint rubs off very easily. If any of them were played with, the paint instantly came off. So I pulled this Dr. Doom out, and like, he's got all the paint on the front still. I was like, wow, and it wasn't in a baggie. It wasn't in, a case. It was just in a bin. I was like, wow, this looks really good for being in here. So I kind of picked it up, and I turned it over. I think he had $15 on. I was like, well, $20, that's not bad for these. And so I stopped, talked to the guy, looked at a couple other things. So I ended up picking that up. So at this point, now I've got Captain America and the Turbo Cycle at home for Secret Wars. I just bought a Spider-Man, and now I've got a Dr. Doom. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This is the
why I would never worry about you running out of things on your list.
Well, I'm trying to be a little pickier with my money. Because you can fall down a lot of rabbit holes really quickly with toys. So trying to be a little bit, pickier on things and just buy things that really I have an interest in or nostalgia for, or not just things that I'm like, oh, cool, I'll buy this. And then, my personality, I've got to collect them all. So, or at least try to. So anyways, I'm like, oh, what am I doing? So I shopped for a while longer, kind of going through this, a booth in a different room. I was talking to the guy a little bit, and he's like, he had a bin of vintage Superpowers figures. And it was like a beater bin. It generally, everything in there was like missing an arm or was heavily played with. And they were very common figures for this line. So I'm kind of looking through it, and like I run across an Iron Man Secret Wars, and he's in decent shape. But the center circle that's normally yellow is rubbed. And so it's about halfway there, and I'm like, well, maybe it's cheap enough. What do I care? It's just Marvel. It's just Secret Wars. Nothing important. So anyways, he's like, well, what are you looking for? And I'm like, oh, I told him superpowers, what I was still on the hunt for. And I was like, well, I've picked up these Secret Wars now. And I said, I'm looking at how much you got on this Iron Man. He's like, oh, $5. And I was like, okay, cool. So we start looking, and then he's like, I got a Captain America over here. And I'm like, well, and he's showing me that. And I'm like, it's in pretty good shape. But I'm like, I don't need Captain America. He's like, oh. He's like, well, I've got an Iron Man around here. So he goes searching. Well, eventually he finds the Iron Man, and it looks really good. Like, super good. And it's got a shield, and he has 3 of the 4 inserts for the shield, the lenticular inserts for the shield as they came. No gun, but those 3 inserts are unpunched. They're on the card. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. He's like, yeah. I was like, he goes,
that iron willpower.
Right. Yeah, seriously. So he's like $40, and I was like, I don't think, I kind of go back and forth with him. I end up getting it for $30, the same price as Spider-Man. So I was pretty happy with that. Really, and I was like, okay, now I'm kind of excited about these Marvel figures. I had a lot of these, so I spent most of the rest of the day, kind of on the hunt for those. Here's the thing, like, there aren't very many figures in this line, and the bad guys are not great. There's a Magneto. It's not a real exciting figure. There's a Kang. I don't care about Kang. I would like a Doc Ock, because that's a pretty cool figure, but I could not find one loose that had all the arms on it. So I found some carded stuff, which was not priced outrageous. It was all less than $100, and I was like, that's pretty good. But I know if I buy that, I'm going to open it. So I was like, that's a no-go. So anyways, yeah, at the moment, I've got Cap, I've got Iron Man, I've got Spider-Man, and a Doctor Doom, and the Turbo Cycle. So I don't know if I'm going to go any further with this. It was kind of a weird line.
I do.
You're supposed to, Cliff, you're supposed to say, did I ask?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe a Wolverine could be in the future. I don't know beyond that. There's a Daredevil figure. There's
I see here a lot of figures that for sure are 100%.
There's a Falcon that is high dollar, so probably not going to do that. But I spent most of the rest of the day kind of, trying to take notice of those. Found a few, like, they weren't high priced at all. I mean, I saw some nice looking ones for like as little as $15, but those that's
what most of my list is like, yeah, these are pretty pricey, but if you don't have to have them right now, you just keep looking. Stuff falls in your lap occasionally. Like you run into stuff,
right.
You make some bargains, like it happens. So yeah, I wouldn't never say never on any of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So and if you have it all, what's the point in going to shows anymore? That's not fun. There's no fun in that. So yes, it's about the collecting. So anyways, I had a really good day. I was there till about 2:00 and came back home. But it was fun. I will, it's a different thing going by yourself. That's for sure. Not that I haven't went by myself before, but I will say I do really enjoy the shows we all go to, or, going with friends, or, I've taken my dad a couple times to shows, and I do really enjoy that. but every once in a while, if last minute decisions, a little road trip isn't too bad for a day or half a day, whatever. So saw Russ the next day, the following day, and I was like, dude, I almost texted you at midnight last night just to see if I could get you to go. And I was like, I ultimately was like, no, I'm not going to be that dude calling you at midnight like, oh, let's leave in a few hours. So it ended up he was busy that next day. He had plans anyways, couldn't have went. So that was good. But I did see the other thing, I did not pick them up, but I was tempted. Guy had there were some comics up there, and I have a small collection of like Saturday morning number ones from 80s cartoons, Strawberry Shortcake and Sectars and I don't know, Mask, and I have a few. And one booth in particular, I kind of walked around the corner, and he had a Centurions number 1. He had a Silverhawks number 1. He had there was one other one there that I had not seen before, and that was Saturday morning cartoon type of stuff. And he had a little bit too much money on him. But I stopped to talk to him about those for a little bit. Turned out he had a friend that owns a comic store. I think he said maybe in New Jersey or something. That it was that guy's stuff, and he had brought it along just to see how they did. And he was like, I said, well, how did the comics do here? And he was like, well, I learned a lesson. Bring more comics. So so those were pretty tempting. But ultimately, I kept kept it under budget too. And was super happy with what I did bring home. They're currently all residing in the Batcave in the display case, which I kind of like that. So, anyways, Toy Hio 25, pretty good show. Definitely recommend. Saw all the YouTubers and retro toys and gosh,
I know you're making up some of these, but
you'll never know. You'll never.
Well, we
look
appreciate
it. So yeah.
One thing I
cool
don't like is that it's the 25th show and it's 2026. Like, they should have thought about better.
Well,
because to call it Toy Hio 25 when it's 2026 is just that's not a great plan.
But they have them 3 times a year, so this was the second one of the year. So
all right, so the third one, it'll only work the third one. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long until there's going to be booths full of all the scalpers who bought all the He-Man sippers from the movie theaters are going to be selling all that stuff at these shows too at exorbitant prices?
It was a heavy Motu show, and I did not see one sipper. So everybody got the shaft on them. Nobody got to. I'm just assuming nobody got the sipper except like one guy in Parkersburg, West Virginia, that bought all of them a day early.
We have fun, don't we?
People don't forget, Regal. People don't forget.
Check your email.
Shoot. Good stuff.
All right.
Eternia remembers.
That's right.
All right, sounds good. There we are, traveling, making trips, having summer plans. How exciting!
That Ohio Toy Trail runs all summer.
I'm gonna try to go to. I'm going to Denver in a couple months to visit a friend, and she was like, asked me if there's anything I wanted to do when I was there, and I think I'm going to tell her I want to get a Mile High Comics.
That's a must see.
I want to say I've been there. I've saw that in comic books my whole life.
They were a question on Jeopardy apparently.
Cool. They're a big deal. They're probably just a big room with a bunch of comics, but
that's what I would imagine. But imagine an even bigger room, bigger than you could imagine.
So if it's, not a pain in the butt to go to, try to pop in there.
I don't think it's like downtown. I think it's like kind of on an outskirts area.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It might not be convenient, but we'll see. not a big deal, but I was racking my brain trying to think of something. I was like, oh, Mile High Comics.
You got your annual gaming shows coming.
Hell yeah, I got Gen Con in a month, then Denver a month after that, less than a week after that, I got a Rush concert. Going to Red Rocks for Brandy Carlisle while we're out in Denver. It'll be awesome. So lots of stuff. Things get added all the time. Something comes by, I'm like, I'll do that. I'll add it to the list. So there might be it. I keep checking the cons, see if anybody gets added. I did say that. What's his name? The guy that I wanted to see at Heroes Con, but it wasn't worth going. He's already doing other cons. He must have
2 customers that went to Heroes Con, so I got to hear stories about it.
Cool.
I still haven't.
It's a great time. I just have gotten so many of those people's signatures, I can't justify the trip anymore.
And I checked whatever the next Galaxy Con is, somewhere, Raleigh or somewhere. I just looked because they had shared guests at a lot of different places, and whatever the next one coming up is, has a great guest list. Both Ralph Macchios, the Marvel editor and the actor, are both going to be there, which would be super exciting in itself. But I
hope they put them right next to each other.
J.M. DeMatteis and some guests I would kill for. But it's like, all right, you're on the Galaxy Con circuit, so get to Ohio.
DeMatteis cancels all the time. He keeps advertising he's going to this stuff, and then he cancels the last minute. I'm sure he has a reason, but he's always keeps canceling. I think the one he's pushing now is New Orleans or whatever. So I don't know. I'm gonna check that list then. How far is Raleigh? It's pretty far.
I can't remember. I don't think it was Raleigh. I think it was
Richmond.
Yeah, maybe Richmond. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I think he canceled from that one.
Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah. Never have enough Ralph Macchios. I still remember that guy. I want to say I was having Frank Cho sign my shield, and his friend looked at it and saw it said Ralph Macchio on there, and he was like, and the guy was like, "Oh look, Ralph Macchio signed us." Like yours high up there. Is really just dragging the both of us and Ralph Macchio, all 3 of us. Ralph
catching strays.
It was, and Frank Cho. I think it was Frank Cho, and he looked over at him, and he's like, "It's Ralph Macchio," and he looked at me and he was like, "This guy's an idiot." He just immediately slammed his friend like, "This guy doesn't know." And we knew, trust me, I knew. Anyone in that room would have looked at that guy like he was an idiot because he didn't know who the hell it was. It's like, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Ralph is a super nice guy, too.
Which one?
Both of them.
Both of them.
I don't know. I know that the editor is. He's a really super, super nice guy. He was so nice.
All right, Jordan.
I don't know about the Karate Kid.
More to come
He
soon.
seems violent.
It's got to be high kicking everywhere.
Oh.
He's probably kicking coffee cups off the table.
Talking shit about everybody breaking ice nearby. Well, that guy's not even doing it right. Shut up, LaRusso.
One of the top trilogies of all time.
Barely.
It is. It
in
is.
the book.
Not top 10, but
in the book.
Close.
Better than Lord of the Rings. There we have it. That's Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast. I have been Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Bye. For now.
That's the energy I like to end the show with. Yeah. Slow petering out.
Fade out.
Bye forever.
Thanks for listening to Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast. The best way to support the show is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/YouDownWithKPP. Catch every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you listen. And check us out online at podbean.com. Stay connected with us on YouTube and TikTok for extra content, or send us an email anytime at Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast @gmail.com. All sounds, clips, and media played are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is the property of Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast. We'll be back soon with more fun, more laughs, and more pop culture. But until then, ask everybody you know. You down with KPP?